Hello guys and welcome to my build video for the MAGICKA Dragonknight for the patch Homestead. This build is basically getting everything you could ever want in a DK. We are super tanky. We have absolutely infinite MAGICKA. And there is something I'm going to point out in a sec, but let me get back to that. And we are really pretty decent damage for a heavy armor setup. This is a heavy armor setup, but our damage output is really actually quite nice. And we're running sets and skills that really amplify that damage. It's good damage. A lot of people criticize it, be like, this isn't a good damage, but it is good damage on this build. It's been proved. A lot of clips I've saved up. I will be releasing a pretty majorly edited video by a friend of mine, editing that pretty soon, but just waiting on the editing for that. So it could take however long. I don't know yet. Here we go. Quick pre-warning. Somebody in the chat, this is a YouTube community, is going to be a twat, and they're going to say, you can't sustain this build against a stamina player. That's a joke, all right? That's not true. I'll explain why you're going to say that in a bit, but it's not true. This build will sustain fine against stamina players. Against a magic player, you're going to have infinite resources. But against stamina, you are still fine on sustain, and your damage is still good. All right? We're just going to throw that in. So, the sets. We are running 5 black rows. These are all on the major body pieces. This gives us health, stamina, and magicka. Everything you could want. Survivability, blockability, damage, and resource sustain. And then on the 5-piece, a really important part of this is the spell damage. I'll explain that bit in a sec. As well as 35% increase on the Constitution passive, which is this one here. So you restore 251 magicka and stamina every time you take damage when you are wearing heavy armor for each piece. That is a lot of resources, all right? That is tons of resources back. For that reason, we are running 7 heavy in the build. It's very good sustain, and it's extremely good for survival. Our next thing is 5 Sirabane. Now, this is a set that was like a blast from the past. This has not been touched since basically pre-1.5. It was very popular back then. It's kind of abandoned, but I think this is a very good magical meta, and I think it pairs very well with the way this build plays. This gives you magical recovery, which is good. That's nice for the times where you're not getting hit to give a bit more recovery. It's not a wasted trait. Spell damage, very important. We're getting spell damage from the Sirabane and spell damage for the Black Rose. So even though they're both sort of sustained sets, they're both giving us damage to keep our damage okay. And then we're also getting that magicka again to increase our damage at Battle Roar. But at the same time, when you block a Flame Frost, Shock, or Magic ability, you restore 860 magicka. That is so much magicka. That is insane. That's 1.7k magicka recovery whilst you are getting hit by magicka players. That is so much. It is infinite when you have a raid on you with magicka people. You have so much magicka sustain. It is crazy. And we're using that on jewelry and the one-hand shield. Shield's impen or sturdy, and the sword or dagger or mace or whatever. It doesn't matter. I wish I had a sword, but you know, fashion sense and all. But I can only find daggers, so they are sharpened. Both of those are weapon damage. I don't really play with a weapon enchant. You can put whatever you like there. I would suggest one of them being that. You could run a poison there if you are a twat. I'm better than that, so it's up to you. I just won't do that. And the enchants on these, again, we can afford a spell damage enchant. Even against a stamina player, spell damage is fine. Spell damage on one enchant, and then reduced cost on both of the others. Our last piece set is optional. You could run either Groftar or Scoria here. Again, you want to go Impen or Sturdy here. And that gives you magicka, great battle royal damage, etc. And then you get a nice damage AoE around you. Or you can go for Scoria, which is more of a burst damage, less sustained damage, and less overall damage, but an increase on the burst. So it is nice. Running 2 glyphs that are tri-enchanted for the stamina and magicka and health. And then all of the rest are health. I would suggest running with 5 sturdy and 3 impen with this setup. I just don't have that. I've only got divines on the shoulders. That's the best I can do. If you really prefer more crit resist, you can change that up. I wouldn't run any less than 4 sturdy because you really can permanently block if you do this properly. So don't mess that up, basically. Next is our potion and food. We are using tri-food and we are using tri-pots. Pretty basic. Go that way. It's definitely the best. But it's solid to go that way. The skills, we are running with Burning Embers. So Burning Embers is a really nice dot, insane single target heal. You got to know about the skill. And then Flame Lash, again, very basic. It's your double proc. Root them down with either the Fossilize or Talons, and then cast that twice, and you'll get a really good heal, very good damage proc, and it's really nice. It also got a 5% damage buff in the last patch. Very tasty. We're then running Fossilize. That is a CC that's soft, so you break that when you do damage to them. But it also puts a root on afterwards, which helps you proc your whip. And then we're running Entropy, which gives us more magicka, more health, And a hell of a chunk of damage. A really, really nice chunk of damage because the extra Magicka you're getting as well. And the major sorcery that is blocking. So that's why he's there. And the Meteor on the main bar. This is more of a preference thing. You could run Meteor backbarred for slightly less single target damage, but more Magicka on both bars, so your bars are pretty similar and you don't lose it. I personally prefer the damage on my single target bar, so I put it on my main bar, but that's up to you. And then back bar, we are running Igneous Shield, Major Mending, so OP, run it, it's too good to miss, and it's also feeding our stamina back with all of the Magicka sustain we have. If we're struggling, we can use that. Deep Breath, that's a really nice AoE heal and damage, very good for a burst. I didn't play this in my previous builds because I wasn't playing a tanky setup. In this, definitely the one to go. Dragon Blood, so this got a big increase. It now scales on your spell damage and all of that shit. It's really nice now. The Major Fortitude is a bit of a waste, but the fact that it scales on your spell damage and shit is really good. And it's actually a decent heal now, so it is worth using. I do like that. With anything Burning Talons, that's a nice dot. It's a nice damage. It's the root to proc this. Gotta be on there. It's so good as DK. And lastly, Volatile Armor. Good dot. Breaking the cloak very often of Nightblades. A lot of damage return to melee classes, and more important, it's giving us our major resistances. And then the back bar ulti, a bit of option here. You could pretty much run anything. You could run the one-hand shield ulti, you could run leap, you could run bats. I personally even have dropped Vamp off this build. I don't really find it useful. I think you end up taking more damage than the Undeath gives because of the amount of Dawnbreakers, traps, and fire out there right now. So I personally go with leap. I think I really like it. I like an aggressive ulti. I wouldn't go one-hand shield, but it's up to you. If you want more defense, you could play one-hand shield ulti, and it would work fine. So, our stats. Remember, this is all currently unbuffed. Alright, this is all unbuffed. We are 39k Magicka. In Cyrodiil, our health is somewhere between 27.5 and 28k health. Stamina, 17k. Spell damage unbuffed is 1.971k, so 2k. With the heavy armor, we're getting another 200 on that. And then we're also getting our major sorcery, which is going to give us another 20%. What's that? Like another 5 inch. We get about 2.7. 3k spell damage with a weapon enchant, which is really good spell damage. That's a solid spell damage to be on. And recoveries are pretty irrelevant just because of the amount we're getting elsewhere. Our Mundus is the Thief. We are running this for crit damage. And you'll notice that my crit is pretty high because I'm getting Major Prophecy from the final skill that I didn't mention. Flames of Oblivion. It's a big part of this build. So what a lot of DKs lack is burst. And I've kind of found with this build that you can get that by running Flames of Oblivion. It's a very powerful skill. I've always used it in duels. I think a lot of people use it in duels. A lot of burst damage. And it's also increasing our crit on our front bar, which is a very, very nice increase. It's a very, very good skill. I would definitely suggest running that. A lot of people get triggered by the fact I'm not running Mistform. I still stand by that as a solo player, I do not like Mistform. I have not found a value. I feel it's more stalling death than anything. There's always people are going to get triggered about that. Spare me in the comments, please, about Mistform, because I know someone's going to do it, and I'm very set on my opinion. I've tried it many a time, and I really feel that it's more productive to run damage. It's up to you. If you're running in a group, definitely run it. If you Mistform in a group, definitely good. It's going to help you get back to group. Personally, I'm not going to run that. So, next. Have I missed anything? I don't think so. Champion points. Tell me if I missed anything, stream. 100 in Magician. Reduced cost. Beautiful. Gotta go there. It's excellent in heavy armor. Easy peasy. However, in this section of the green tree, I'm running 13 in Tumbling and 87 in Shadow Ward to really amp up the block ability. It is so, so useful. You're going to be able to block a lot in this build. Like I said, you got a lot of Sturdy on. It's going to really amp your block chance. You can block a lot of people for a long, long time. The red tree, 6 in quick recovery for that little extra healing. 53 and 53 in elemental defender. 55 scales better than 53 marginally. But I like 53 just to open 13 in thick skinned up. And the 75 in crit resist to unlock the resilient passive, which is giving us a bit of help on my crit. Does help your tank ability to get that. I have played about a bit. I was suggested by the streamer. It was definitely worthwhile going. It's a nice increase there. And thick skin is really good. There's a lot of dots right now. I almost feel like putting more in there. But again, you can customize this as you like. The blue tree. So a lot of people are going to get critical that you're not running Exploiter here in this setup. I've tried this and truly I believe that it's better to go the way that I've gone in terms of damage. I really think that it works out better. I dropped it and I think that the dots, that's enough for the dot damage. I think you are truly better off stacking in this section here. So 99 in Elemental Expert. None in Spell Erosion. You can put some in there, but like I feel that unless you're really putting a decent chunk in there, it's not something you're going to notice. Because of the percentage crit, we have nearly 50% crit on our main bar without any buffs or anything. We're going to put a lot into extra crit damage. Even with the impen, I really have noticed this damage increase miles over Exploiter. This is a big damage increase. You are going to feel this big time. It does make a big difference. And lastly, 22 in Blessed for the heals. I don't remember if I mentioned the weapon trait. My stream says not. So my weapons are sharpened. I actually put that on both bars. You could run defending on one bar. I personally like the aggression. I think this build has a good amount of aggression, good damage output. And especially when you get a Groft I'll proc up a lot of pressure for the tank ability that it offers. So I really feel that I like double sharpened. I gotta say that Zero Bane is going up in price very quickly. A lot of people are trying to get that shit, so it's going to be difficult to find weapons in sharp. You can run defending there. It will do a similar job. You're just going to be lacking damage, so it's down to your preference. But you're definitely going to want sharp on your single target bar. It's going to be hard to find. I'm not going to lie. Don't worry about gold jewelry. I was very lucky. I think they're the last on EU, honestly. But getting purple jewelry is still fine. You're not going to notice that stats much. I'm just wealthy enough to buy that stuff. And I think I covered everything. So, yeah, there we go. Zero Bane's farmed in Grantwood if you need it. Black Rose is farmed in IC. You can buy it for Telvar. Sturdy PC, unfortunately, you have to get from the boxes, though. So I would just suggest farming the gold. If you need gold, check my trade guide, and that would hook you up. But I think that's everything, guys. Hope you enjoyed the build video. I hope you have pleasure with it. Plenty of content coming out with this build video. Squad is teabagging behind us. Have a good day. Enjoy.